So to make our Ohio Star border, we're going to start by prepping our 3 pieces of border strip fabric. We've got a focal fabric, we've got our mid-layer fabric, and then we've got our base layer fabric. We're going to start with our focal fabric, and these patterns are labeled top layer or mid layer. So we're working on the top layer right now. You're going to want to break that pattern down into the 4x8 strips, and then you can just peel the paper off the back, and you're going to apply those to the back of your border strip. And as you can see, if you make a mistake in the placement, you can peel it back off and stick it back down again. It's got a pressure sensitive adhesive, pretty easy to work with. Once you have them all done, you can start cutting out, and if you want to, you can go ahead and do a light fuse at this point, just a second or two, just to hold that fusible to the fabric before you start your cutting, and then just cut out all the gray areas. And then once you're done, we're going to do the same thing with the mid-layer border using our mid-layer fabric. Same process. Again, we're going to cut out all those shaded areas, and be careful when you're cutting. You start inside the shaded area. Don't cut in from the outside of the strip, because that doesn't need to be cut. Now once you're done, it's time to start stacking. Of course, the base layer is just solid fabric. It doesn't have any fusible on it, and it doesn't get cut. So we're going to take the paper backing off of our mid layer, and we're going to carefully position that over top of our base layer. When you have it where you want it, you can kind of press it down with your hands. Then we're going to do the same thing with the focal fabric, the top layer of our border. And be careful as you're peeling paper off these and working with them that you don't stretch the fabric, otherwise you're going to kind of screw up your design. So just carefully position that top layer over top of the mid layer and fiddle with it until you get all your points lined up exactly the way you want them. Now in this situation, a little fabric stretch comes in handy sometimes, because you can kind of manipulate that to where it looks perfect. Once you have them all 3 where you want them, then it's time to permanently fuse those down. And you're going to want, when you're fusing permanently, you want to hold your iron in one place about 10 seconds before you move it in slightly overlapping areas. You want a high cotton setting with the steam on. You want to use plenty of steam and let that fusible do its work. So now it's time to prep that center block. So we've got our continuum accent design, and again we're going to fuse that design to the back of our focal fabric. Once we have it done, we can cut it out. Just take your time with it, and then when we're ready to go, we can peel the paper off the back, position it on our center block, and when you have it where you want it, again you can kind of press it down, get it in place, and then it's time to stick it on the ironing board and permanently fuse it down. Again, about 10 seconds in each area, slightly overlapping areas. Don't be afraid of using the steam. When you're done, you can turn that over and fuse it again from the back side. And a point to remember while you're fusing is don't iron it. You want to press it. Otherwise you're going to move your design around. So here we go. This is our finished design. As you can see, this one has the bear on it. The one that you have purchased probably has the elk on it. And beautiful looking quilt. So take your time with it, and you're going to come out with a great looking quilt.